Hello and welcome to another episode of the Never a Straight Answer podcast. The podcast aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm your host Gaz, and joining me in the studio, well, he's bent more spoons than Yuri Geller and a fresh from the freezer Ben and Jerry's combined. He's also my co-host. He's Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, good evening, welcome one and all.
Yes, welcome back for this week's instalment of the show. You're always welcome here.
Oh yeah.
Wherever you're from, around the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we love you. We
everyone.
love you. Come and join us.
Yeah.
It's always good
do.
to have you listeners come and,
Listen.
Well, we've got an interesting show this week.
Yeah, as always.
As always. This is an interesting one in respect that it covers quite a lot of different angles on the paranormal. And we had a kind of an interesting conversation in the build-up, kind of the research to the show about what constitutes as paranormal.
Well, yeah.
Like, in terms of like, is a UFO alien stuff? Is that paranormal activity?
You could put it under paranormal because of some of the activities around it, I suppose. Like, waking up with a bright light and stuff
could be
that.
like, military.
Yeah,
Like shining a torch in your face. Get up, maggot.
Yeah, it could be. But to be honest, I wouldn't put that category in that part.
Well, we're going to be talking this week about the $1 million paranormal challenge.
Oh, yes, please.
And basically, like I say, this is a challenge that's it was open to anyone who could kind of, prove that they had sort of paranormal abilities.
Got to be some kind of proof out there.
In like the scale from telekinesis, mind reading, moving objects with the power of their mind.
Oh yeah.
Well, actually, some sort of things that you would definitely not expect.
No.
And I think you'll probably be a bit shocked by some of them.
Yeah.
The paranormal challenges are basically, there's quite a lot of these, and they often posed by groups of individuals or self-identified skeptics.
Yeah.
And rationalists, people who believe, show me the evidence.
Yeah. Well, you should always show the evidence.
But these are public challenges, so those who enter, they need to be able to prove that they can do something a bit extraordinary.
Yeah, not wasting time.
And like I say, it's $1 million. It was $1 million.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be getting into that a bit later on in the show. It is really, really fascinating stuff. That's coming up, plus the weekly random events in this week's news.
Oh, yes.
So it's all well worth sticking around for.
There is indeed.
It has actually been an eventful week.
It has. Yeah. Like last week, it's busy, isn't it?
Last week was just mental, like for a lot of different reasons. But it's been kind of the same this week. But I mean, every time I turned on the news, it's been Queen related.
Yeah, it's been nothing else
she's
really.
She's done a tour this week, hasn't she? I mean, in terms of like getting back from Scotland and doing a waits in St James's Castle, was it, or somewhere like that in Scotland, and then now she's back in London.
Yeah, queues are massive.
The queues are crazy. We'll talk about a bit of this later on anyway in the news, because I think it's actually quite amazing to see how many people have actually turned out to it.
Yeah, and who's turned out
to it. If you want to find out who turned out to it, we'll tell you now. We'll tell you later. You might already know, but we might know something you don't. So stick around. We've got some questions for you at the start of the show, including a questionable listener question.
Oh yeah,
I'll say that in a minute. But what would you say, based on tonight's episode, out of the idea of paranormal and proving it? Yeah. What's the most convincing evidence that you've seen for paranormal activity?
I think it'd be probably me and my brother and mum moved into a house one time, and there was a picture there with an Indian and a tiger.
So this is quite a personal story then. So it's nothing you've seen, like no individual, like a famous person or anything like that. This is something that's very personal to you.
Yeah,
but it was enough to convince you. So go on, carry on.
And they had this picture, and my brother's left it in his room, and then we've literally gone out the door, turned around, come back in, because we were going somewhere, and the picture had disappeared.
So it's like,
nowhere else
Mum,
to be found.
I'm just about to, we're going out, but let me just grab my picture of a tiger off the wall.
Well,
and then he's gone.
He's gone back for something else, and as he's looked round, it's like, hold on, where's that picture gone? That's a nice picture. It was
It was,
Very
it was
done.
kind of like striking and
Yeah.
kind of something that you'd notice was missing straight away.
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
much.
straight away.
That's
yeah,
kind of interesting then.
yeah. Have you?
Well, there was talking about pictures. I mean, this isn't a personal thing, but my brother said that he made a caterpillar at school. Yeah,
Right.
And it was up on the wall in his bedroom.
Okay, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's funny, just reminded me with it saying that it was an image, like a picture that was
Yeah.
he had a problem with, and it kind of reminded me of the crying boy thing, but which
Oh,
I think
right,
that had
okay.
kind of like you know, a rational explanation in the end. But
Yeah.
this was a caterpillar, like all kids make, you know, circles, and you stick them all together to make a wiggly caterpillar.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
the movie. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And you'd make them with crocodile pin clips, and they could
Yeah,
move
that's
them
right.
out, right? Well,
Yeah.
he'd made one, and he was proud of it enough
Yeah.
to put it on the wall at home, yeah.
Yeah.
And he said that it was moving around the room, like
It was moving around the room.
yeah,
What, on
like,
its own?
on its own, like, and its eyes glue up.
Its eyes glue up.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, that's not my personal encounter, but
Well,
you
that
know,
does
this is
sound a
somebody
bit
that
strange,
somebody
that,
has
doesn't
told
it?
me, which was in a house that I was living in. So
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of like.
So you had no experience,
I didn't have
but
any
he did.
experiences there, but I think I've mentioned an experience with a cat that I've had in previous episodes.
All right.
Remember when I was saying there was a cat, but it was like the cat. I said, "Oh, where's the cat gone?" And my gran was like, "That cat died ages ago."
Oh, yeah.
Go back and listen to. I'm sure
Yes.
you'll find it on a previous episode.
Yes, it's
And
definitely
if
there.
you can't, just download them all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why not?
We've got this question. I don't know if this is a legit listener,
Hmm.
unless he goes by Joseph Boomerang,
Okay.
and his question is boomerang related.
All right. Oh, nice little sweet pot.
Joseph Boomerang from New Zealand. Not,
Ah.
I didn't expect him to
Right,
be from
New
New Zealand.
Zealand.
He's
Well,
from New Zealand.
You
He's
sure it's
close.
Australia?
He might have been deported.
Well, yeah.
Well, Joseph Boomerang from New Zealand said,
Yeah.
"What would happen if you were to throw a boomerang in outer space?
Oh, that's easy, that.
Would it come back?"
No.
Just keep going,
No,
wouldn't it?
yeah, because there's no gravity to actually force it.
Joseph Boomerang, is that his handle, do you think? Is
must-
that his internet handle?
Well, it'd be funny if it's real.
I like the
real
fact that he's
name.
from New Zealand. Cheers,
Yeah.
Joseph, for getting in touch.
Now
I
he needs to
think-
move to Australia.
Yeah, I do believe that if you threw a boomerang in space, it wouldn't catch the air enough to be
Yeah,
able
because
to
there's
make the
no
return
air, no
journey.
force, nothing to actually. It just keep going at the same speed. Actually, it speed up. So after a while, you won't want to catch it. I wouldn't have thought.
Take your head off.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean,
Take
I've
your
seen
shuttle out,
Crocodile
mate.
Dundee movies,
Yeah.
but like, you know, I think that's the most lethal boomerang you could ever throw.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And the biggest knife.
Yeah, that's not a knife.
This is a knife.
This is a knife.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to play
So,
with him.
what have you
He
been up
missed
to
me
this
Rambo.
week?
Mate, more research to be honest. Yeah.
I've had a bit of a research
Yeah.
heavy week this week. I've been busy, but I've had it's been tiring. So what have you been
Yeah.
researching?
Basically, quite a lot of the pioneers of
What, blues music?
ufology.
I was going to say,
Yeah, of
jug blowing.
yeah, no,
Ufology,
just,
go on,
yeah,
no, sorry.
those who like Freeman, like he helped bring back Roswell, because Roswell, if you'd in the 50s, any article to do with UFOs or anything like that, Roswell was not in there.
It's funny that, because we do take for granted that everybody knows about the Roswell incident now.
Yeah,
But there was a period just after
just
the
after
incident,
it. Yeah.
and kind of probably a decade after,
Yeah.
at least, where it was hearsay. It was kind of like,
Yeah, it was
you know,
hidden away.
It was,
they didn't.
it wasn't very well known knowledge.
No,
Yeah. So I mean, the average person wouldn't know what Area 51 was.
Yeah.
And if you were, if you were to kind of get talking to somebody who knew what it was, they'd probably be very excited to know that
Oh yeah.
that you knew about it too.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I think that the idea behind conspiracy theories and these sort of, well, with Area 51, it was more of a fact that it was a very slow leak. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so this information, somebody's obviously said something to get
Yeah.
the information out. It's almost like that pirate thing where One-Eyed Willie, it's like, well, he
Yeah,
killed all
well-
his men. And it's like, well, if he killed all his men, how did the story get out? Well, somebody must have
Yes.
said something
Yeah.
for
So
it
must
to
have
get
survived.
out. Yeah, right? So, in the same vein, I think that, if if they were all sworn to secrecy at Roswell, the Roswell site, and
Yeah.
said, you're not allowed to talk about it, NDAs are signed and all
Yeah.
this stuff, that they'd eventually, somebody must have blabbed, and said
near enough everyone
something.
on the deathbed.
Well, there you go. But
Yeah.
I mean, even earlier than that, because I feel like the Roswell conspiracy itself has been going since it happened, but it's been on a slow burn. So more and more people started knowing about it when we get into the 80s and 90s. It starts becoming more popular culture. Comes up in more popular culture things, but it's more well known now, and to the point now where if you say what's Area 51 to somebody, everybody would know.
There's another pioneer like Bob Lazar. He was a pioneer because he brought it out before anyone knew, and then like 6 years later, then the government come out and actually.
Well, there's some interesting research. Maybe we'll be doing some more alien-y stuff. Well, we will be guaranteed in the near future. But we're getting into the season now, aren't we? The old dark magic Halloween season.
Well, I've been looking at some ghosts ones as well, actually, and there was a freaky one, and there's an episode actually that I think we should go into about animals that are freezing. Actually.
I'm freezing, man.
And you talk. There's videos of like birds like freezing as a group.
In midair.
Yeah, midair. Sheep, not far from here, in fact. In 2020, there was about 30 of them in the field.
Like glitching the Matrix.
Yeah, and they all stopped, stood still. But also within the film, one of the ears were moving, so it wasn't like. That it was a frozen footage or anything like that. But there was a weird squirrel as well in Russia, which actually someone was feeding it.
Oh
nuts.
My days! It was a nuclear squirrel.
And then it just froze, literally looks up to the ground, and the guy was playing around with it,
been eating Chernobyl,
giving it loads of nuts.
acorns and Chernobyl nuts and vodka.
Yeah. But it's a kind of mad thing that's been going around lately at the moment. So we might have to do something on that.
Is it a glitch in the Matrix, or is it just a pause in the program?
Yeah.
If it is a computer program we live in, surely there is glitches and hacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we can find the infinite money hack, we'd be sweet.
Oh, yeah. Where's that Easter egg?
Extra life.
Where's that Easter egg?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been a busy week. We've I've just been working. I've been doing a bit of research. But I have been watching a new series. Well, I say it's a new series. It's a new series I've just discovered and started watching. But it's WuTang American Saga.
Oh, yeah.
Available on Disney Plus. It is brilliant.
We've been talking about this.
So good. I mean, the story is great in itself, how they get together and how they form the WuTang clan.
Yeah.
But if you like drama series, or you're interested in them in a biopic sense,
it's behind the back.
Well, kind of they do these sort of adaptations of Freddie Mercury or whoever's life, and call it a film biopic.
Oh yeah. It
is very much like that because it's how they kind of got together and how they kind of brought their musical flavour across, and then end up becoming the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah,
and then it's all the trials and tribulations of living. Where they lived. And
hard times.
But it's like these things are the things that make you. And they wouldn't
make you or break you,
wouldn't be who they are if they didn't live through it. I feel like it is a really good show, and I'm hoping there is going to be a season 3. If you've not checked it out, it's on Disney Plus. It's a great drama series, definitely worth a recommend.
Definitely got to
this
check
week.
That out.
That's pretty much that. I was kind of really binge watching that a bit.
Yeah.
But also, like I say, had loads of bits and pieces to do, so it's been a kind of one of those life admin weeks.
Have you seen that Nope yet?
Nope.
No,
it is on my list.
It is on my list as well.
I tell you what, I did watch Clerks 3.
Oh, any good?
It's very nostalgic. It's got Kevin Smith's a funny comedian. He's a funny director.
It's not like coming back to America again, is it?
No, it's a kind of homage to his first movie, and in the sense that, but. I love Kevin Smith, but I do have to say, I mean, obviously, when he had his heart attack, it was a bit I
never knew that.
I was gonna say, are you sure?
Yeah,
because no matter how much I love Kevin Smith, he did go on about his heart attack
on about it all the time.
Yeah, so when he's now made this Clerks 3, and where they left the characters was they had gone from the movies. McDonald's sort of style, but flipping burgers and working behind the counter there too. owning the quick stop convenience store.
Yeah.
So,
that's right.
you know, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but like, you know, I will say one of his characters may have a heart attack.
Oh no.
Well, I think it's in the trailer anyway, so I feel like if you're a fan and you're gonna watch it, then you might have watched the trailer. So you know, maybe
I kind of hate trailers at the moment over the last couple of years.
Do you think they give away too much?
Yeah, far too much.
Yeah, I mean this was nicely done. It wasn't giving away too much, but it kind of hinted at what the film was going to be about generally, which is.
Which I suppose that's what it's there for, a trailer.
In the sense that when Kevin Smith made Clerks originally, he made it in a convenience store because the store was where he worked and he had access to it. And it was like all these people would come in and ask him dumb questions and, you know, it's right about what you know.
Well, yeah, true.
You know,
true.
So
made a career out of it.
Well, he has, exactly. And it's got to the point now where this movie is now where this character's had a heart attack and decides to make a movie about working in the convenience store
now.
So it goes full circle, as in the sense that like it's almost a story about Kevin Smith and Kevin Smith's life, but it doesn't focus on his like extra different characters. But there's a lot of callbacks. There's a lot of kind of love put into it. So I will recommend it.
Yeah,
definitely.
5 stars.
Oh, I'm not going to do the stars. I'll give it 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
I'd say that's reasonable. It is a dick and fart joke movie. What can you say? But I mean, at the end of the day, I've always had a lot of love for Kevin Smith and Jay and Silent Bob and that. So you know what? Yeah.
Fair enough.
She-Hulk, though, you know, he's getting bad reviews. There's a lot of people saying it's pretty disgusting in terms of like because, you know, a lot of the superhero franchises, they're very like, oh, we've got to save the day and all the rest of it. She doesn't want to be a superhero. She wants to be a lawyer. But the fact is, that's besides the point. Because
it's not been on long, has it?
No, it's been 4 or 5 episodes in, but it's kind of like
I'm gonna watch it.
One episode it ended with her twerking, the next episode tackled her dating world where she joins up to Tinder, you know,
you're joking,
and then realizes that she doesn't get half as many swipes as a normal self, Jennifer Walters. But if she's puts a profile up for She-Hulk, she's getting pure matches, and then. You know, it's kind of...
Is she actually green? Does she actually turn?
Yeah, she is green, but it's so bad, the CGI. It was, like, somebody actually referred to it as looking like GTA characters.
See, this is what happens when you get, you know, too much on the bandwagon.
I mean, let us know what you think about it. I mean, I kind of like it in the sense that we've got cameos from, like, other characters she's representing.
Yeah, but that's only because Karen...
You know, I mean, so, the last 3 episodes has been... finished with her twerking. There's been like that where with her dating, and then the last episode which currently aired was her going to see like a costume specialist to get her fitted for some new kit and some
she's
new
gonna
gear.
rip out of it when she turns
she's not
green.
Gonna rip out of right, but and a court case that basically brings all the dates back into it, like from Tinder.
Like, they're all criminals.
Oh, it's crazy. It's like, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Am I
probably for the new generation, that.
Getting a bit too far with this in terms of like, am I not giving it a chance? And you know me, I love the Marvel stuff. And it did have a bit of a kind of a hint to another character come into it.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like so many other characters that are coming in that are making it. And the other, you know, it's not really her.
True, I mean,
doing it for me. I'm not watching it for She-Hulk. I'm watching it to see who else is going to come in and tie up some loose ends. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, what are you considering on doing? Like every season have a couple of like different Marvel characters, and then the season after they change it to another couple of characters.
Well, that's how it looks. Yeah,
and then we do movies.
Well, that's it. Well, you're not watching it for that. You're watching it to see who's coming in next week, and that's.
Yeah,
defeats the point. Anyway.
Yeah, it does.
Well, if you'd like to help us out and get involved with the show, you can go over to Patreon and join up. You can sign up as an agent, a special agent, or beyond top secret and get privileged information and content that isn't available to everybody
else.
You can help us out by doing that, or going over to the website and maybe buying some merch.
Yes, we are available there.
We got a brilliant t-shirt design from the fantastic artist Ross Cooker.
We have
great stuff. You know, that's not going to be available forever, so make sure you get over and get one yourself today.
Quick before it goes.
Well, yeah. So, this week's topic, got an interesting one. I think we should jump straight into the topic.
Yeah, I agree.
So, it's the paranormal.
Yeah.
$1 million paranormal challenge.
Please.
Right, yeah. So, when I first heard about this, I was like, wait a minute. There's actually been a competition. It's like the X Factor.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like Simon Cowell going, no. Oh, no one's ever had the golden buzzer.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Like, but this is pretty much what it's like. It's a competition that was set up in order to find or prove or disprove
get some answers.
Paranormal activity. And the more I looked into this, the more I found that this isn't even the only one.
No.
Yeah, this is the most famous one because I think the prize pot was so big. And
it grew, didn't it?
A lot of people went for it.
Yeah.
Some of them were actually even televised, making them a bit more of a spectacle to watch. But paranormal challenges often are posed by individuals or self-identifying skeptic groups who want the publicity and a public forum to be able to kind of, prove them wrong. I assume because obviously the self-proclaimed skeptics. Straight away. Yeah, and it's like, when people go out, put your money where your mouth is, I don't believe that this is true, you need to supply me with evidence and all the rest of it. Yeah. The idea behind this became quite interesting because, the guy who originally did it, the $1 million paranormal challenge, was offered up by James Randi, right, who went on to become the CEO, I think, of an education foundation. That's right. Or like the owner or person who ran it.
Yeah, education foundation,
the JREF, which is the James Randi Education Foundation. Yeah. And this was kind of one of the things he put in place was to pay out $1,000 US. Yeah. The original prize pot.
That was the original, yeah.
And that was for anyone who could demonstrate a supernatural or paranormal ability under strict, rules. Criteria. Yeah. Right. And they had to be able to perform. So basically how it would work is James set up his whole kind of like, offices. Yeah. And he'd have a load of researchers there. And then if somebody was to apply, they'd have to cherry pick the people first because there'll be a load of people who would be writing in going, I can do this, that, and the other, and they've got no evidence or no sort of, they just sound like crazies or people with like mental health issues, right? So they don't get entertained. But on the flip side, these are skeptics, So they could have people writing in saying, I'm genuine, I can do this, I can move things with my mind, but don't let them partake in the challenge.
This is where it is more like the X Factor. Like the when it first
they
comes back on.
They want to see the auditions make a fool of themselves.
And they want to see a few decent people go through.
If I'm a skeptic group and I'm trying to disprove paranormal activity, but then somebody comes up who actually might be able to do it,
there's got to be
are you going to let him do the challenge?
Well, yeah, because if anything, you shouldn't be able to disqualify anyone if they believe they have the records.
Well, because these challenges are these different, or people who believe they can do different things. Yeah. So when it comes to them actually accepting you're onto the X factor of paranormal activity, they have to come up with a test. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
To test everyone's going to be different, and your abilities might not be the same as this guy's abilities. So we need to come up with test for you, test for
that
are going to be adequate enough to prove without a shadow of doubt whether you're lying or not. Yeah, right. Now,
and I'd say it would be a first test as well because you can't really judge upon just one test, but everyone goes through this first test and so far.
Well, a version of the challenge was first issued in 1964. Yeah. And since then, only they say over 1,000, but I think that's quite a small amount of people.
That is tiny.
1,000 people have applied, but a lot of them were not successful. The challenge was terminated in 2015, right?
That's a long time.
Well, yeah, I know, but after, how many years? 1964, and you've offered this prize up to be able to say, well,
Yeah, and
if you can prove it, then we'll give you the money. But then how many decades have gone by and nobody's been able to do it?
Yeah.
So, you've got to kind of draw a line somewhere. It's like...
There has to be an ending.
It's amazing to me, though, that we kind of, like, look at superheroes and stuff as kind of, like, the norm. And, like, X-Men and, like, mutants and, like, whether people could have powers. Yeah. But generally speaking, there's nobody in the history of the planet ever come forward with these type of abilities. So where does the idea of this come from?
Well, I have seen over the years abilities of like
You've seen it.
I've seen videos of.
Well, I've seen videos of stuff like that, but then it's
across.
always kind of like the idea that they're using magnets or something, some sort of trickery. And
but it seems to be after an accident. A lot of these,
you were talking about this before,
forth.
And like you mentioned, the idea that if you get a knock on the head and you can kind of also suddenly do complex mathematical equations, or you can speak a different language. And I think we've talked about people like that on the show before, where someone's had a car accident and then ended up speaking fluent French.
Yeah, that's right. And backwards.
You do have idiot savants, who are just naturally great at something without knowing how or without having any formal education in it.
Some kind of brain trauma.
And you just mentioned there about synesthesia, where you have that ability to see colours, see music, or hear, see sounds, or
that's right. A lot of geniuses have
smell
these
colours,
kind of abilities.
Do you know what I mean? You can rather smell colours or see sounds, or you have these sort of like, and I think that's medical in the sense that. When if you are in an accident...
You didn't have it at the beginning.
I mean, not necessarily even in an accident, but it must be the way your brain's wired. That if your brain's, reading information or transmitting information in that way that you can actually smell a colour, then there's obviously something going on within your synapses and like that, how it's transmitting that information and being...
what's blocked,
how it's being read.
Opened up. Yeah.
So, like, I always think of it as like when the light hits an object and that light then bounces off that object and hits my retina. Then that object is light particles, right? So then my brain has to kind of make some sense of that information, right? And then it kind of uses old information that I've got in my head things I've already seen and encountered to try and build a picture of what that is, make sense of it, to me. So if you're kind of in a situation like that where you've probably maybe had an accident or you've been born with synesthesia or some sort of kind of like extrasensory sort of perception, then is it medical or is it, down to
that depends paranormal? That depends if you can call your sixth sense, your gut reaction,
There's been a lot of people who've kind of tried to pass, a sixth sense off as a paranormal ability. Like the idea that you can be in tune with something and be able to read something with a high level of accuracy. But when these people are tested, they don't generally perform very well. Now, is that down to the test that's being put to them, or the pressure, or the idea that if someone's good at something, they might be able to perform it 50% of the time, but then one of those times when you're under the test is the 50 that you don't perform it and you're seen as a fraud? You
know what? I think it comes from like a personal aspect I had growing up. Like, I can do something, can everyone else do it? I don't think anyone else can do it. I might be the only thing that could do this.
What was
I could do this. Different
just
things, different general things.
In the age of discovery.
Is
this
learning.
Basically, you're like, is this normal?
Basically,
is that
stuff like that.
Come out of there?
Is that
supposed to grow?
Is that the right colour? And it's that kind of.
I haven't got belly button fluff.
That ain't belly button fluff. Just some. Like maybe I could, bend my wrist back a little further than I've seen anyone else do. Stuff like that. Just little
things. For the
things.
listeners, I just bent my wrist back.
But it's that kind of, are they in a kind of denial kind of thing of, yeah, you know what? I'm the big cheese here. I'm the only one who can do something. We're all like, actually, mate.
When you're like, is this a fair size?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to look at me mates. Anyway, back on topic.
Yeah.
The James Randi, how he kind of came up with this idea, and he developed the idea for the challenge during a radio panel discussion, where he basically, one of the panelists who challenged him to put his money where his mouth is.
Yeah.
They were saying, no, paranormal stuff's real, telekinesis is real, all this. And he was like, no, it's not. And
so it was a dead cert that
he said, all right, then I will put the $1,000 up, and as soon as the interest kind of came in for it, it went up to 10,000. And then later, Lexington Broadcasting wanted Randy to do a show called the 1 million psychic prize.
Okay,
right. So they added 90,000 to the original 10,000 to get the 100,000. Randy finally in 1996, one of his friends, an intranet entrepreneur, Rick Adams, donated a 1 million prize pot.
Nice.
So but there was actually some speculation whether there was £1 million actually there ever, because nobody ever won it.
Well, yeah, but then, no one ever won it. They tried to win it. Well, what was it? 1,000 people tried to win it, and it just didn't pan out. But it's a kind of, it's not a fair system on that way. Because, like you were saying, like, people didn't have the opportunity. They were scanned first. Yeah, don't get me wrong. If it was like, putting your thumb in front of your other thumb and, like, bending it and, like, making it look like it's split apart, that kind of, that don't work, mate. See you later. But if they have something there, but then we don't know how the process went, you know what I mean? They might have been harsh, or they might have been nice and easy, actually.
Well, some of the examples of the tests was one of them for, do you know dowsing rods?
Yeah,
so they're pretty popular. People believe they work for finding water, gold, all sorts.
I would try it if
whatever you want to find.
Yeah.
No, it's not even a case of finding water. It's whatever you want.
Yeah,
your dowsing rod.
Yeah.
So basically in 1979, Randy tested 4 people in Italy for dowsing abilities. Right? Yeah. The prize was supposed to be obviously 10,000 at that time, and the conditions were that 10 by 10 meter or 33 by 33 feet test area would be used. Yeah. And there'd be water supply or a reservoir just outside the area.
Right.
And then they used 3 plastic pipes running underground from the source of the reservoir, and they'd have to track it, I suppose.
Okay.
Like follow the water.
Yeah.
But the pipes were 3 centimeters in diameter, and they were buried 50 centimetres or 20 inches below the ground. Yeah.
Oh, it's not even that high then, either. That low, sorry.
They all failed anyway, so nobody ever won the money.
Yeah.
But, in terms of percentages, they were hitting percentages on, success. Maybe... So there was another example where there was a guy who claimed to be, like, a cold reader, and he was able to, remote reading or remote viewing. So... the test was devised for him to sit in an office in some location, and all he'd do is he'd have a piece of paper on him with 20 boxes for him to draw his results in.
Yeah.
Now, he'd have a camera on him and left him on his own, so he was quiet, he had his own space, and then another guy who he was supposed to get in tune with and be able to cold read or be able to kind of...
Give him a message.
Send a message, yeah. He'd pick 2 envelopes.
Yeah.
Or one of 2 envelopes, and each one had 30 flashcards in. And they all had different images on, like wavy lines, stars,
60 all
moons,
in all.
whatever.
Yeah,
so he's got 60 overall, but then his friend is asked to choose 20 of the 30, right? And they're the ones they're going to use, right?
Okay.
He managed, I think one time he was tested, or one person in this situation was tested and got 0 out of 20, then complained about the person that he was trying to communicate with, and said that there was a problem there and all the
Studio
rest of
lights
it.
block my
There was
communication.
something that was blocking his communication, so we tried again and got 1 out of 20, which was still a fail.
1 out of 20.
1 out of 20. So, these
Even probability, you should have got more.
Another example was a woman who claimed to be able to make some people urinate themselves.
You what?
Yeah, make them pee their
Make me
pants.
pee myself.
Make me pee my pants.
Hey, that'd be a good trick in a pub.
But again, on command, wasn't able to perform the task.
Oh.
And another chap who claimed he was able to create a magnetic field, a bit like Magneto,
All right.
from his hands,
Yeah.
stronger than the magnetic force that a body generates. Yeah,
Yeah.
a magnetic field that a normal body generates. Yeah. One thing that he said was this ability was able to give him the ability to call UFOs down from the sky.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he could stand there and go, "Come to me,"
Oh, right.
and they'd be able to find him. But then,
Bit of
like,
God
people were like,
complex.
"Well, why is that not just the coincidence that and how would a random UFO in the air be able to go? Wait a minute, Jeff's calling us.
Yeah, we better get there.
We best
quick.
get down there
Yeah,
quick. What's
yeah.
that anomaly?
It's like a 999
Must
call.
have been such a strong magnetic anomaly for him to be able to go, wait a minute, there's something going on down there.
Yeah,
Like, why would they be like looking
that's just
for old Jeff?
Yeah, that's just mad. I've seen one about a machine that someone could read what someone was thinking in the audience, and like basically the machine was going up and then going down, and that was it. Really, there was nothing really evidential to it. And then a guy who believed he could power Yellow Pages, which if anyone doesn't know what Yellow Pages is a book full of everyone's business numbers.
It's a phone
and that.
book.
Yeah, and he reckoned he could push a piece of paper over one of the pages. So they got some styrofoam and put it round there to make sure that he wasn't blowing, instead of he was actually using some kind of force, and he ended up refusing
Right, okay.
to doing it. Yeah, because he goes, no, I need some other because it could static and with the lights in here and that, and he was like, no, mate, give it another try. And he was there for like 30 seconds. He was like, nah, I can't do this. And he was like, yeah, you've been caught out, mate.
Well, we've got this one. Anita Akonen. She was a medical dowser. Yeah,
right.
and determined by observation which of the 5 subjects had missing kidneys.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but she failed.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, she did. I don't know what. It's basically saying for demonstrating, not testing. She didn't get tested. She just demonstrated it. So she wouldn't allow the test to take place. There was a man called Fi Wang, who was saying he could send energy through his hands that could be felt by another person.
You know what? I reckon you could possibly do that.
Well, this apparently he sends electric to the hand, which should be felt correctly about 8 out of 9 times, but he failed again. He couldn't perform on the night.
Oh, well, you got to perform on the night.
That's the key component there, isn't it? Well, it's funny that none of them could, but it's quite interesting.
Have you seen the one about a woman who could actually draw a picture of someone's dead relative in the crowd? And she had some guy there.
Sounds like
and they failed as well.
Derek Acora.
Well, yeah,
getting the word. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, not to say that. I mean, there's been loads of these challenges. Yeah. I mean, in 1922, yeah, Scientific America made 2,500 offers. I mean, that was a lot of money back then in 1922. Yeah, $2,500. The first was to get an authentic picture of a spirit.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, if anyone could do that, they'd pay $2,500. And the second was for the first psychic to produce visible psychic manifestation.
See, right? I think if that prize was still going, and it would go for let's say 5-10 years. Yeah. I reckon someone could prove it. In fact, I could probably prove it today, and the reason why is because a scientific paper's only just come out and stated that under quantum mechanics, that actually you can get something from nothing.
Yeah, like this is what they're saying. How can you physically manifest something from thin air?
Yeah.
I mean, he was the first guy who actually got tested for anything. So back in 1922, for the Scientific America one, this was George Valentine, who claimed that he could actually bring about a spirit and speak to them.
Right.
Yeah. Through a trumpet that floated around in the darkened room.
Yeah, through a trumpet, and it's got to be in a darkened room. A certain darkened room.
And he'd be like, "Is that you, Nat King Cole?"
That sounds like signals to someone else to go, get that ghost going across there and then get it coming back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I say, since then, there's been many individuals and groups that have offered similar monetary awards as proof of paranormal.
Why hasn't it been won?
Well, it's because there's no bloody evidence. Well, there is, but it's the difference is there's a lot of kind of videos and things you see on the internet nowadays that do look very convincing.
They do, yeah.
I mean, there's a great YouTuber. Yeah. If you're looking for paranormal stuff on YouTube, check out Slap Tam. Yeah. He's an Australian guy, and he goes through all these videos that people send him of paranormal stuff, ghost hunters. Things that are a bit more compelling, and things that do look a bit more like real evidence, and it's usually like haunted dolls and cemeteries and things and shadow people but you do see weird stuff, and it does kind of they don't watch it in the dark on your own because you will get the chills, it's like a lot of it you see, and the skeptic comes out and you can kind of see how it's done,
try and work
out how it's done.
I hate that.
Then again, it's like a lot of these videos are on Ring doorbells, on stuff that's maybe a bit lower quality video, and you kind of like it helps the cause, doesn't it? It helps the cause because if you can't see the strings, you can't see the magnets, so you can't see how they're doing it because of the video quality is lower, then it helps them make it look more legitimate. So who knows?
Yeah, true. I mean, you just reminded me of one that we've seen a number of times now, probably on the same show, and like it looks like a herd of goats running across a field, and one goes over the fence.
But it looks like a piece of cloth.
But there's fuck all there.
It goes over the fence and then disappears. Yeah,
and it leaves like a kind of a mark behind it as well. So it's like leaving.
Again,
some
I think sometimes these cameras because they're not. Basically, they've got a processor, right? So a lot of the cameras these days, these Ring doorbells. If the
cameras can lie.
Well, they can because basically, if they're fixed on a point like your front of your house and the house facing, now the house facing never goes anywhere. Yeah, it's always there. Yeah, right. So your camera, basically, the processor will decide what bits of information it needs to keep updating. Yeah.
And the side bits you don't need.
Yeah, these bits
so
that never change, like the building that's in front of the house, that it doesn't need to refresh the pixels as often.
So that's why you get like little skips.
So sometimes you might see a person walk past a house, and because the house is always there and it's not used to refreshing those pixels, that person might look translucent as they walk past because almost like screen burn,
the gate one,
it keeps those pixels in play and then kind of like works with the others. Do you know what I mean?
And it sort of works the same
slightly. I do kind of feel like I know what I'm talking about there.
Well, on top of that you're seeing, you're only visualizing in your own brain. You're only seeing about 22% of what's there as well anyway, because your brain's doing exactly the same kind of thing.
Well, people start suggesting things and then you see it. So it's like, do you know when you hear that, you've seen it, you can't unsee it?
Yeah.
Your imagination, you might see a face in that thing and then I don't see it, but as soon as you point it out, I cannot unsee it then. It's because now it's... You've pointed out to me, it's there. Yeah,
it's an arrow. There's an arrow every time you go near it.
Yeah. So, like I say, since then, loads of people have put up monetary awards as proof of paranormal things. There's been loads of them. Czech Republic put one, which was, 415,000 Czech krona.
Whoa.
which equals to 160,000 US dollars.
To
anyone who could prove a proper paranormal ability in an area such as clairvoyance, telepathy, telekinesis, or anything else really, anything exciting. China put up one, the Simanan challenge, which was again 100,000 or 1 million Chinese yen, which worked out at 157,000. For anyone who could perform an act of special ability without cheating.
Ooh.
So what? Breathe fire, do a fireball, fly, hover.
Yeah, people can breathe fire though.
That's with the aid of something, and this is what you were saying about magic, right? Like, could a magician go in and do a trick? And no, because I feel like
we already know he's a trickster.
He's a trickster. He's using props and things to be able to manipulate and sort of
he's calculated
distract you and all the rest of it. So, like, that to me is cheating. You know what I mean? And I don't believe that if a magician went on this one of these challenges.
Yeah, because this is for fun as being a magician and showing your skill.
It's you're basically saying, I can do real magic and here's the proof, right? When in reality, you've practiced those tricks to be able to fool me using misdirection and all the rest of it. So, no, I don't believe that's it's an ability, don't get me wrong, and it's a skill. But definitely. It's not a paranormal ability. It's not like a special power, is it?
No.
Yeah, so... so without cheating. So, I mean, again, that's still unclaimed. That came out in 1999. In 1984, India, the Tark Steel Society, again, 10 million, which worked 10 million Indian rupees, though. That worked out $150,000. So anyone who could prove any of the 22 specified miracles... 22,
so they got
so this must be a religious thing. So they've got 22 miracles that they want proving.
That's a bit.
The entry fee though was 10,000 rupees.
Oh.
So what did you pay before you play?
Yeah. Well, that's probably why they haven't got so many people knocking on the door.
Everyone who entered nobody won. Unclaimed again, so they were making money on that one.
So if anyone can claim any of this and actually get through and win one of them, you basically can win a lot of them.
Well, here's a more recent one. In 2000, the Centre of Inquiry of Investigations Group offered a $250,000 prize to anyone who can show, under proper observation conditions, evidence of paranormal, supernatural, occult power, or anything associated with sort of telekinesis. I
want to see more ghosts, spirits, and stuff like that. People to actually enter them because there's definitely something bothering and some kind of energy around. So there's a new form, and if you can prove it, and like. The techniques that they're using these days are like, with machinery, like, here's what they're saying. Well, bring it forward and win yourself a bit of a cash bonus at the same time as, like, everyone going, you know what, you're the bollocks. You know what I mean? You know what you're talking about. Get yourself a bigger job as well, I would imagine.
So, I mean, there's been quite a lot. I keep saying that, but I mean, some of the more notable prizes and competitions. One from Great Britain, the Association for Skeptical Inquiry. Offered £12,000 British pounds.
That's it, you skinflint. Come on,
for anyone who could prove psychic powers. That's it. They've got
just psychic
literally
powers. Fair enough.
All it says, proof of psychic powers. And then you've got Russia,
who we're not talking
offered their prize up, which was 1 million Russian rubles for the Harry Houdini prize, and that's to the prize is awarded for demonstrating paranormal or supernatural abilities under conditions and scientifically valid experiments.
Yeah, so harsh conditions.
Yeah, like in the tundra.
Yeah,
freezing your knackers off.
What do you think about those who read horoscopes then? Who predict on the horoscope?
Well, it's all prediction, isn't it? And I suppose that if you're looking at it like that, that it's like a science. I mean, some people argue it's not, but like if you're looking at
maths.
it from mathematics and star charts, then it's not so much a superpower or a proof of paranormal. It's more reading navigation and kind of science.
But supposedly, history has taught us that our old generations actually used that kind of stuff to actually, go forth and bring us to the next stage and further in the future.
What, bring us out in terms of evolution?
Well, yeah, possibly, but it gives them the guidance of to where we are today.
Okay, you know what I mean? I see where you're coming from. I mean, there's loads of essays and stuff on this topic, and a lot of kind of more in-depth stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to check it out, the James Randi Foundation. I mean, this is another. What was it? The yellow bamboo. Was another topic actually I was looking at actually, but I think this was something about kind of like it could be totally different. I can't have time to read that right now.
Okay.
But anyway, is there anything else you want to add to the?
Rudy reckons that he's got a book from Nostradamus, which was the second edition in 1665. Which the original edition was 1568, and he believes that the predictions that he comes up with are a little different in the other book that he's got, and I believe it's a very rare one as well. And I question, is it taking hope away from people by actually looking more in depth and more scientific into these kind of areas? Because if you take it away, you're going to lose the people out there.
I know what you're saying.
Believe so harshly on it.
But what I'm getting at is, it's like you'd only believe in it if you could do it. Yeah, right. You'd only feel so passionately about it. I know these people. This isn't true. These skeptics. So
but there's a lot. There's at least a couple of 100,000 people out there that may.
It'd be nice that to feel like that was we are evolving and we could be evolving into some fantastic ways. But there's actually no evidence,
no electronics
of any sort of X-Men style powers coming out just yet. I mean, in terms of what we can do for ourselves. Yeah, going forward in terms of pharmaceutically altering our genetics to be able to do things that we were never able to do before.
Yeah, that will
who knows what
forth.
The future holds in that respect. But I mean, I wouldn't rule it out in terms of science fiction becoming science fact.
There's loads doing loads from the old generation that have actually come science facts over here. I mean, Star Trek, where with the
his communicator.
Communication, we've got mobile phones. Bang,
not only that, we used to say that flip phones, but flip phones are back now.
Yeah,
so you know what I mean.
I'm
It's get yourself a James T. Kirk flip phone.
Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's it's one of them, but I just hope that we don't hit an area where it ends up being something that's either taken the piss out of, or destroy it, and then the people who have put their hopes, dreams, whatever, and gets destroyed.
I'm not
it's taking a church away, innit?
I'm not disputing that some people can do amazing things.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean, we've
definitely amazing people.
You can kind of Google real superpowers, and you will get people who can kind of moderate the body temperature and breathe underwater for longer than other people. And this one chap here is 70 years old. 70 years.
Yeah.
So this is a man from India, a yogi, who's 82, and he was making headlines that he'd not eaten anything for 70 years.
Bullshit.
Well, I know, not one calorie had
not
passed
one
his
calorie.
lips. Yeah, he'd eaten nothing, not one drop of liquid, and no food.
No.
For 70 years.
bullshit, but the rest of us like leave it, don't drink for 2 weeks and we're fucking dead.
But that's what I'm saying. Is that a superpower? Is he genetically built in a way that's different to everybody else?
Alien, that's what he is.
You know what I mean?
He must be. There's no other fucking way of saying it. You know what I mean?
Well,
I mean, it's like Stan Lee. Stan Lee did a program with loads of
people who were like felt like they were real superheroes or had superpowers. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Magnet Boys and stuff like that. Werewolves.
Well, there you go.
Werewolf kids, yeah, man.
Well, that is actually seen. I've seen those in like
and
Teen Wolf.
Yeah, but then generations beforehand, we've all gone like, nah, fuck off. You talk, or but then some evidence has come forward. I've said this, but where did werewolves? Where does that come from? I feel we need to do an episode on these sort of things in the future anyway. So we'll get into it. We will.
I mean, if you guys feel like you could have passed the challenge, we'd love to hear from you. Yeah. We haven't got no money to upload, but we're very interested, and we would definitely love to see your tricks.
We'll help you around the world report it.
I'll tell everyone he's legit. I'll be like, he can totally bend spoons.
Yeah, we could do a deal, I've
seen him bend a fork once.
Yep, with his mind.
Nah, he didn't just bend the... Oh, mate, he bent it all.
Bent his toe, Bent his toe backwards.
If you've enjoyed this episode, you've got anything to add, or like I say, if you've actually got a special ability or power that you want us to know about,
if Superman's listening, get in touch with us, and we can have a little
rather get you on the show, or just hear about your special ability. It can be anything, and I mean, I'm not just saying, can you do levitation? What is your special ability? We want to know. Leave a comment,
you prove it?
And we might have read them out next time. I'm fucking losing my ability to speak tonight. Moving on.
Ooh.
But if you want to check out the website, you can get on the contact page there and contact us if you have any questions or suggestions about the show, or just want to talk to us about tonight's episode.
Please do.
Hey up, Chewie. Well, anyway. We've got the news coming up.
We have.
Is that right now?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, we have.
Well, they've not played the jingle yet.
Oh, well, we're going to have to fire him.
Ah, there it is. It's the news! And as always, we've scoured the World Wide Web to find you the latest news from around the world. Yeah, it's another funky week. We spend a good long time trying to find these stories, and you know what I mean? We always it just comes up with newer, weirder stuff every week, I think.
No, it's getting bad, man.
I mean, what, Batman,
yeah.
Why? What's he got to do with anything?
He's just...
What's that got to do with the price of fish?
Well, what's fish got to do with it?
What's fish got to do with Batman?
Well, French.
That's French.
Yeah.
It's a bit French.
I've
got this... you've heard of Baby Shark?
Oh, yeah.
I wish I hadn't.
Yeah.
I do. I am aware of the Baby Shark.
I believe it was at number 1 at a point.
Was it?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it wasn't a Christmas number 1 or something.
I'm trying to find it. That. We'll probably get demonetized. We don't get monetized anyway, what we're talking about. But we'll probably... Trying to find this Baby Shark. I want to hear this.
You don't really.
I'm breaking the internet. Something's going on here.
Is it? Oh, good, because you're after that Baby Shark, that's why.
That's it. He's trying to go, don't do it to yourself, guys. Don't do it.
No. It's like... it's like 2 girls in a cup. Don't do it, mate. Don't.
I'm interested to know what this is.
Yeah.
Baby Shark, do. Right, okay, that's annoying.
Yeah.
I can see how that could be annoying. Right, but this inmate in Oklahoma was forced to listen to Baby Shark on a loop.
Oh, terrible.
What did he do?
Poor bastard.
To deserve this?
Yeah.
Is what I want to know. An inmate who had been accused his jailers of torture by allegedly forcing him to listen to the Baby Shark song played on a loop. He's been found dead.
Oh, shit.
No, seriously, John Basco was found unresponsive in his cell in the early hours of Sunday morning in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
According to a press release, officers tried to save the 48-year-old's life. Emergency responders arrived at the scene, but efforts to resuscitate him failed. And the official said in a statement, but he was pronounced dead shortly after.
Oh, they've got to be done for torture.
That's not right. I mean, even if he hadn't passed away, I thought that was torture enough.
Yeah, I think it will come under the Geneva Convention of torture.
100%. But basically, they've accused former detention officer Gregory Cornell Butler, Jr.
Oh, Junior.
And Christian Charles Mills for forcing him to listen to Baby Shark, blaring it out on repeat for hours and hours. While they stood handcuffed to the wall.
That's just wrong. And
that would send anyone under, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, they were using kind of Britney Spears in Iraq, weren't they?
Yeah, they was. Yeah. Yeah, and it worked effectively as well.
I mean, yeah, because it's still torture.
Yeah, they do it when I think when they hit Waco as well. I believe they did throw some sounds
out. They did actually. Yeah, I think that's right. So yeah, I mean, what do you make of that?
That's just fucking. That's bonkers.
I thought that was pretty.
That's just.
I mean, in terms of torture, I've seen so many different ways over the years, especially doing the podcast research and stuff.
Yeah.
Where people have been tortured, and even something like that, it's so simple. But I mean, where I work, that has to be played sometimes, and I've never heard it, but I've heard people coming out of studios going.
Don't want it as an earworm, do you?
Nah, you don't need that as an earworm. So it's like, Baby Shark, and I've just kind of avoided it. But anyway, have you got any news?
Yeah, I have actually. I don't know if it's good news or bad news because it seems to be that there was a possible assassination attempt on Putin with on his convoy.
Well, Nostradamus said he'd be assassinated this year.
Well, yeah. Well, apparently, he's dying of cancer.
So many rumours.
His men are turning against him and stuff. Well, actually, what he's done after this, he's actually got rid of a lot of his people at the top and brought some new people in. Because not long after the explosion happened near his convoy,
but you want yes men, don't you? I mean, he's probably getting a bit of backlash for what's going on in the Ukraine from his top brass.
Yeah,
and rather than stick around listening to them be negative, he's go, I'll get a load of people who are going to do what I ask him.
Yeah, that's probably what he has done. It probably is. But at a couple of hours after, there was an attempted assassination on the Ukraine president, which actually left him going into an ambulance and going to hospital, but he's all right. He had an interview not long after that.
Well, there's actually a lot of things going around saying that, Putin's been quite, personal in the respect that, he's attacking civilians. His hometown, Zelensky's hometown, was actually flooded when a dam was broke by the Russians.
Yes.
And that was kind of a bit of a tragedy in this town, because obviously, your dam breaks, it's going to cause a bit of damage.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
a number of other things that have been surrounding that town as well, which are quite horrific.
Graves as well.
Mass graves that have been discovered.
Yeah, that they're investigation now.
So, is he playing dirty? Is he being personal? It just seems very personal.
I think it's basically Putin's trying to hide all the shit that his soldiers have done. And don't forget, there's a command behind them soldiers, and then there's a command behind them soldiers as well. And they see everything that's going on.
Well, this is the thing, because there was talk from UK, military experts who were basically saying that there's no leadership to Putin's army.
No.
They're all basically doing their own thing.
Well,
so some of them are going
first,
in. Some of them are going in and just being like absolute knobs and fucking causing war crimes, and some are trying to be actually we don't know why we're here.
Yeah, there's actually some Russians who've give up themselves so they don't get association with him and get transferred later on back to Russia for Ukrainian soldiers. There is quite a few that have actually give themselves up. So there is responsible ones out there and aren't agreeing with Putin and his actions, but he isn't even classing it as a war, really. He's classing it as an operation, which, like you were saying, he is losing at the minute. He's had a little bit of a backlash. his brain man got attacked the other week, and his actual daughter died. And there's a lot of stuff going around, but now he's being friendly with China.
Right, okay. Well, you see, I said this a while ago when this actually kicked off with the Ukraine and Russia. I was saying, well, now we need to watch what China's doing in terms of, like, they're going to see that nobody's doing anything. Nobody's kind of, like, making a move in terms of, like, other countries.
Yeah.
And China want to do the same thing. They want to take
Taiwan.
And, like, if they can do it, why can't they?
Well, this is
and it's
kind
a bit
of the agreement.
A worrying moment, but anyway.
Because Biden had gone away and the Senate had actually put a vote to actually feed Taiwan ammunition, weapons, and give them more support.
Hong Kong? No, it was Taiwan, wasn't it?
Taiwan,
It was,
which actually then...
Sorry, I've got a dog kind of sneaking behind me here.
Chewy,
What's going to here?
Which basically recognises Taiwan officially. So that brings another problem to the American forefront, but also to China, because China's really nearly broke at the minute, and they don't need no actual, stopping of certain goods getting past.
Well, tough.
Yeah, it is basically play the game and tell Russia off.
Talking about playing the game and goods getting passed.
Oh yeah,
I found this story again out of Oklahoma.
Yeah, nice.
This is a video that went viral after a lorry went over jackknifed.
Right.
It was a truck crash.
Right, and what was in this truck?
An avalanche of sex toys and tubes of lube.
Oh my days, slippy time.
It was a slippy road. It spread across the freeway following a truck crash, and that's gone viral. The incident took place on the I-40 near Mustang on the outskirts of Oklahoma on Wednesday. A box truck and a semi-truck collided, leaving... Maybe the one truck was full of, like, sex toys and the other truck was full of lube.
Well, at least they're not the only dicks there.
yeah, exactly. And it was almost like that, the thing here, Reese's Pieces, it's like, it's like the peanut butter and the chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so the content scattered all over the road. Fortunately, nobody was injured, but the authorities had to take several items into evidence.
Oh.
Yes, and it took a while to clean up the mess.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
It did, honest. So, I found this other story as well, right? Yeah. I mean, how tall are you?
Me, 5'9".
5'9". I think that's about average, isn't it? 5'9" to 6 foot is the average. Well, there's a growing number of men undergoing a radical new treatment.
All right.
I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. Yeah.
Fucking hell.
It's the new craze.
What?
If you're a little short ass.
Yeah, well, yeah, but how big can you get?
Well, I'll tell you now, because basically this is a radical and expensive surgery, and you can grow from 3 to 6 inches. 6 inches is quite a lot.
Well, yeah, but it's not like a platform, you know what I mean?
Some people manage with 6 inches, but 6 inches on your height, it's quite, that's a lot, 3 to 6 inches. Is it worth getting the treatment? The catch...
It's expensive as well.
Well, it's expensive, but the catch is, not only the price tag, but it requires having both of your femurs broken.
Ha!
So you're not walking anywhere for a bit.
No, not for a bit.
Get out of your wheelchair and go, I feel so tall.
Yeah.
After a period.
Yeah,
I'm not sure I'm down with that.
No, I don't think I'd... no, I'm not going to run to get that done. Mind you, and to be honest, I was made the way I was made.
Why would you want... you hear about butt implants and all these
things.
That's
on the increase.
Boob implants are, the norm now, I suppose. Well, not the norm, but,
I think they're on the downcrease, actually.
Do you think?
Yeah,
But
there's more medical going with men.
Have them, don't they?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, true. It's a big industry, you know what I mean? And, it used to just be a few men.
I do believe what you've just said, though, in terms of, how you're made is how you're made. I think you should embrace who you are. And
unless it's for a medical reason, a real medical reason, not for vanity or anything, then
Well, how they do this procedure is they break your femur, right? And then they insert a rod, like a titanium or, heavy-duty rod into the bone. Which stretches you, basically, so it bridges that gap between the break. When the bone heals, it heals around the metal, and then creates, like, an extra length. But
then you've got kind of an issue there.
It's horrible to look at.
You'd have to be, to be honest, you'd have to be young for that, because after a certain age, then they will stop working the way that they should be working, because it's time to break down instead of
what happens if you kind of get it in your early 20s and then have a growth spurt?
Well, yeah, that's true. I wouldn't advise it anything until your spurt's been
I'd say, in any type of surgery
21.
like this, I think you should wait until you've filled out as a person, regardless of whether it is your boobs, your bum, your whatever,
and then
your legs.
if you think it's necessary,
then
talk
think
to the
about
right
it and
people.
speak to your doctor.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
speak to
but
the
I mean,
right
don't
people.
rush into it proper early, because there's no need, is he?
Because like you say, you change as you go along, and
Well, I'm hogging the news here, but I'll give you one last story, and this is something about changing. No, not one last story, but one before I pass it over to you. Some people genetically just the same, you know what I mean? You can't change. Some people just don't change.
No.
And this is a story about two brothers who hadn't spoken for 30 years.
Okay.
Right, yeah. And they both ran for the mayor of Ontario town.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Against each other.
Yeah, against each other, but I don't think they knew they were running. Obviously, both had strong, political beliefs and wanted to make a change enough to become mayor.
Might be friends or something in between.
Well, two brothers haven't actually spoken to each other in about 30 years, and now they're competing for the position of mayor.
So now they have to talk to each other.
Up until the day before the registration, which was October 24th last year, they hadn't actually spoke or seen each other, so they turned up to register, found out the night before. What are you doing here? Exactly. Well, I'm here to run for mayor. It's like, well, so am I.
I'm gonna beat you, boy.
So, in terms of how people might not change, it's like they both had that sort of similar thing. And you hear these stories about twins separated at birth and they're just identical even still.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I couldn't. Yeah. There's something about twins. You know what I mean? That like we were talking about connections with some kind of, but they have some seventh sense or something like that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of bonding between them.
Yeah. Well, it's Charlie and Bill Steele. And don't know which one's the one of them is mayor.
One of them won.
Yeah, well, obviously one of them won.
Well, they might have been other competitors, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, true, actually. Yeah. Well, no, one of them did actually win. So, have you got any more stories?
Yeah, actually, this could be... I've got two here that can join together. Did you hear about China has not been invited? They've been wanting to send someone over.
Really?
But
for the funeral?
Yeah, for the funeral, and they've been told, no, because the way your human rights record is, we're not having it. Well,
that's fair enough.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got to be able to kind of shine a light on these things, and I mean, it's these sort of events where the whole world's watching. Is when you're able to be to say, well, no, we don't want to be in association with that sort of behaviour or that treatment. So, therefore, you're banned from these sporting events, social events.
Well, Russia hasn't sent anyone. We're telling them to piss off as well.
Well, I wouldn't blame them for not wanting to send anybody. But, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Putin would have come if the war wasn't happening.
Yeah, then do the attack. But then again, that'd start off World War III, I would imagine.
Well, no, I mean, if there wasn't a war on and things were a peacetime...
Yeah, peacetime we would have.
Putin would have come over to pay respect. I don't know if he would. He's been in power in Russia a long time, right? And not give that up. I mean, not as long as I'm on it, or the Queen, but, I mean, for a fair bit.
He's been given a state visit, so I would think just for that alone, for letting the Queen come over, have a cup of tea with her and a nice little chat.
Yeah, so chances are that Putin probably would have come to the funeral, but I mean, whether he would have been invited or not this time, with what's going on,
it wouldn't going on now, no.
So go on.
But also, have you heard about Prince Harry.
I've
Prince
heard
Harry,
of him.
There was a big discussion in this country about should he wear his military uniform or not when he's standing at...
So, as I understand it, he had his HRH stripped,
Yes.
yeah, and he wasn't allowed to wear military uniform
Yeah, he
anymore.
got all that
Right.
taken off him.
So, that was by order of the Queen, yeah?
Yes.
So, this proves what I was saying about the idea behind respect for the monarch, respect for the Queen, yeah? The idea that a lot of things are in place because they won't change them because they've got too much respect for that person. Yeah. And once she's gone, that respect isn't there anymore. So rather than kind of going, oh, well, what would the Queen say? It's like, well, are we that bothered about like our new monarch? Are we going to are these sort of policies and things going to carry on like with the same amount of respect, or are they going to kind of start changing things? So, you know, if this was any other social event and the Queen and Harry had turned up in his military outfit, the Queen might have had something to say about it and say, well, look, you're not allowed to wear that. But the Queen's not here now, so there was no one above him apart from his dad to say, well, you're not supposed to be wearing that. Do you know what I mean? But so that kind of reflects that attitude, and that's from like, you know, with her own grandson. Like, it's like, well, she's not here now, so no one's going to tell me off for doing it. Therefore, I'll get away with it.
Yeah, but then in it, like disrespecting the last words of the Queen, that's disregarding what she said.
Necessarily her last words, but that's what I'm saying. Is it disregarding, or is it kind of like? I feel so. I feel it is.
I think it was down to the people, and roughly around 70% of the population agreed that he should wear it because he did fight in the war for her. He did earn them medals at the time, so
enough,
he
then.
should.
And I mean, a lot of the reports that came back from him fighting out there were, he's just one of us, he's just one of the boys, he's done his rip like everyone else, do you know what I mean? So,
exactly, and he was caught in the news as well, and he had to run off, like there was something going on. And at the same thing as well, did you hear about people screaming and getting arrested?
Well, I did, yeah, because I heard during the procession, I think the coffin was being taken down the mall.
Yeah, in Scotland.
And what happened was there was a member of the public had started shouting things at Andrew.
Yeah.
Call him a dirty old man, basically. Yeah. And this person was pulled from the crowd. Yeah. Probably had a kick in and got arrested for breach of the peace.
Yeah, Scottish police, and he weren't the only one. There was quite a number of people who've actually been taken aside and charged. There
was going to be a few, weren't they?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm surprised if that was the most that happened. Then I think they managed it really well, to be honest.
And it sort of keeps it. It sort of keeps it in the air as well about Andrew as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
keep it in the air. Like,
I mean, the British public have been queuing for absolutely hours and hours and hours and hours to pay the last respects. I mean, you would mention there was somebody quite high up, turned up to queue.
Yeah, who was it? David Beckham.
So he's just turned up and got in the queue like everyone else.
Yeah, and then there was...
I mean, he's met the Queen. He's like, you know, he's like probably friendly with the lads and that.
Yeah, but then it was actually nice when he's walking down the stairs to actually, see the coffin. That he was actually crying when he was walking down the stairs. You could see the emotion in his...
I feel like David Beckham's a genuinely nice person, though. Do you know what I mean? It's nice that he's turned up to show his respect. So
and with the public as well.
Rather than private sort of thing.
And I hope a number of other stars have actually done it, but actually not said,
gone in disguise.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Maybe. Because I think a number of people would.
Well, I think a lot of people pay the respects in different ways, and I mean, it's like if you feel the need to go and pay your respects in that way, then I can't fault you. Yeah. But it's like, each to their own. Since since the Queen's passed away, there's been talk about the new money, the new king, and all the rest of it. Yeah. Australia actually want to change it up. They want Steve Irwin on their money. They don't want the King of England.
I sort of, I sort
of agree, sausage kingers.
But, until he kicks us and the king out, then you're gonna have to have the king. Maybe put him on the other side. You know what I mean?
Which this one side's got the king on it. It doesn't. Well, put him on the other side. It's still got a side with the king on it.
Yeah, but
the king side becomes the side with the king on it.
Yeah, but you can't get rid of the king out of the note.
Which is the back and which is the top and which is the bottom of a note?
I'm not a banker.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'd say the queen side up was the note. The top.
Yeah, well, yeah, but then you've got to have something on the other side.
Yeah, but that's we've got what is it, Argyle on a £10 note or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
something like that. Yeah,
well,
don't really notice it. To
if
be
you
honest.
go, we'll put the queen on the bottom then, and that just becomes the top again. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true. You could possibly keep the queen and just throw the king on one side.
Have them both, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? That's a good idea. That.
Well, they've been suggesting iconic Aussie celebrities to replace the Queen on the currency. With zookeeper and national treasure Steve Irwin being a popular choice.
Yeah.
British monarch is Australia's head of state.
Yeah.
And will feature on the currency. But following the Queen's death, obviously, they've wanted to kind of maybe change it up a bit.
Yeah.
They're not sure if they want King Charles III to appear on their £5 banknotes.
Well, it's tough. If you're a part of us, bang, you're getting it.
Yeah, have a bit of Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree. I don't
Kylie
disagree.
Minogue on one side, Steve Irwin on the other.
No, you've got to have them on different notes.
Holly Valance on a 20.
Put Steve Irwin on a 20 and put Kylie on a tenner and Ollie on like a fiver. There you go.
Yeah, who else? What, Dame Edna.
Dame Edna, yeah. Put them on a £1 coin. Ding,
Skippy.
ding. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Skippy the kangaroo, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get them all. There you go. On the pound, on the dollar.
On the dollar, yeah, man.
Skippy dollars.
Yeah, that'd be right. That'd be
Struth. That'd be Bonza.
Yeah,
so... Anything else you want to talk about?
Talking about money. End of September in Britain. End of September, you will no longer be able to use the paper notes, and this is the paper notes of 20s and 50s.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of confusion. People are saying, you can't use £20 notes after a certain date. It's like, no, you can. You can use the plastic ones, the new ones, but you can't use paper notes. They're out of finger. I did actually put a comment on Twitter, on Facebook saying, there's a lot of criminals who were sitting on large amounts of cash waiting to get out. Yeah. And obviously, if you can't spend the notes after a certain date, do have a shovel.
Yes.
I'll take 10%.
10%? I'm taking half, mate. I'll take half of it.
Well, you got to get the deal done first before they trust you with the location, dickhead.
Yeah, but, short time, they've got to get in contact with me.
Plan.
And, I'll cut you in 5%.
All right, nice one. I'll get me 5%.
Get your shovel. You can do digging.
All right, fair enough. Anything else?
Russia's issued a threat to shoot down SpaceX's satellites.
Why?
Because the US have been using them, and through Ukraine, they've been using these satellite phones to actually target Russian patrols and Russian areas.
Well, they've also been using Tinder, as we talked about last week.
Yes, they are.
Setting up fake profiles and stuff like that, trying to get locational data from
where are you?
People...
I'm in a war zone.
do you want to meet up?
Yeah. I'm meeting near the bike shed.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? Talking about war zones and stuff like that, yeah. Do you know when you get these like little robots that are supposed to be like Deliveroo robots or Amazon robots?
Yeah, fucking hate.
Well, there's been one where basically a delivery robot drove through an active crime scene, ignoring police tape. And just bowled straight through. Yeah, because it's GPS. It doesn't know any better. It can't use logic and it's determined to get there, and it can't go.
That's why humans are better.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like it can't go up and go, I'm not supposed to go this way because it's been cordoned off.
Well, yeah.
Maybe there's an invention there somewhere, some sort of police tape that bounces a signal back to these robots that tells them there's an incident and you've got to find an alternate route.
Or I've stuck on the police's trousers.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. If they're all queued up.
Queuing up. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, queue it up. Yeah.
I want 10% of that idea as well. If anyone does actually,
and I want 5%. Just because I was here when the idea was brought.
But yeah, the delivery robot in Hollywood said fuck to the
Fuck the police. Yeah, that's it.
Earlier this week, when it decided no police tape was good or crime scene was going to prevent it from doing its job and delivering its food to its customers.
Went in like the A-team.
It did. It just bowled through, snapped the tape like it was winner of a race.
Yeah. Fuck off, copper. What you want?
Successfully delivered, but fucked up a crime scene. So yeah, well done.
Yeah, let's hope the robot didn't do it. Because if he did, he'd return back to the crime.
Well, technology, what are you going to do? Well, but there has been a bit of an advance in technology this week. And I mean, they're saying it's the first, but I've seen one of these similar, right?
Oh, have you?
So it's awesome. The world's first flying bike.
Nice.
Makes its US debut. So, but again, I've seen something similar. Colin Furze off the Colin Furze YouTube channel. He made a flying bike.
Oh, did he?
Similar design as well. It was drone.
Is he back on him now?
He's not put anything out for a while. But because
he lost himself in his
tunnels,
yeah.
Maybe he had a cave in, a collapse or something. I don't know.
Let's hope not.
But yeah, this flying bike, very futuristic. Is one of the world's first flying bikes. I think it's going to be a commercial thing to buy.
Yeah.
Capable of flying for 40 minutes at a time and reaching top speeds of 62 miles an hour.
Jesus.
It kind of reminds me of something out of
Get the
Halo.
millionaires on there.
Reminds me of something out of Halo.
Yeah.
That style.
Yeah.
And then it's basically like a motorbike chassis with drone engines that keep you aloft, I suppose. It was put out at the Detroit Auto Show, it's been created by a Japanese startup.
Yeah, because a Swedish group, about 2 years ago, they got the permission to actually use, I believe, one, and fly it and drive it everywhere, that it can. It did have the air authority to do the stuff. But since
this
then,
is the thing about it with air off, with like kind of having like permission to take off and stuff, and like how high you can fly legally without interfering with other air traffic.
And what happens if your engine fucking pops off?
Exactly, and you drop. Do you have to wear a parachute at all times?
Yeah, and now, waterproof.
It's actually already on sale in Japan, and it's a smaller version. Is going to be on release in the US in 2023. The basically estimated price tag of it is $777,000.
Oh,
which is a bit of a dent in the bank balance, isn't it?
Then again, a millionaire, fucking
I've got to fly a motorbike.
Go and fucking kill yourself.
That is definitely something out of GTA.
Yeah. But I'll be honest, if I had the money, I'd probably buy one.
I'd probably buy one, but I'd hardly fly out of fear of killing myself, to be honest.
I'd hardly heavily test it. I'd want to heavily test it, like going over water,
it's essentially a drone, so it'll fly over anything, really. But, I mean, it's one of those, isn't it?
Test it to its limit.
Yeah. So, I've got a few more NASA stories. What have you got?
I've got some NASA stories as well. I've got, they think they finally found out why animals, like especially in the ocean, are going the wrong way and, beaching themselves and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you keep finding, like, whales in the Thames and stuff like that. I mean, going into shallower waters that isn't their climate, and they just... Why are they there? Why do they find the way there?
They hit the beach before they think they should be hitting the beach, and it's basically down to magnetic poles, and because of the movement, because we're 150 years in a process at the minute, that the poles are moving, and with that the animals like pole navigation is getting off course and like hitting something before it thinks it should be hitting it and stuff like that, and that's what they
so basically like the sonars
have been fucked up basically, because our magnetic pole has been moving, and our magnetic force around us has actually been closing in, which
does that mean like compasses are going to all be like shit soon and not work properly?
Basically more UV gets through, more kind of stuff that the sun throws at us gets through and damages us a little bit more, but it's a kind of process that the Earth has been in, because there's now evidence that a supernova that happened about 4 billion light years, something like that, 4 million light years away, exploded in 2016, but we didn't spot it till 2012. But we've just found out that it actually has.
Wait a minute.
Effects.
Wait, did it explode in 2012 and we didn't discover it till 2016, or?
No, it officially went off 2000. 2000.
Yeah, because
No,
you just said
1916. No, sorry, 1996.
Right.
But we discovered it in 2012.
Right.
Because
yeah,
of the
that makes
time
sense.
delay.
Yeah. Fair play.
But there is an after effect that it's actually just catching up to us right now, which we've seen the effects on another sun, and it's proven that, when I was saying like the solar system's warming up.
Yeah.
Now a lot more weird things are happening to each planet at the minute. Like Jupiter's red spot's going to come back, and there's indications.
So it's not so much global warming; it's universal warming.
Yeah.
We've got to look out for.
Basically, it's like the wind effect of a blast, but it's been coming for a long time. Hopefully it's not going to affect the solar system that much, but there is effects, and you can actually see the effects at the moment in each individual planet as different environmental and weather effects as well.
Right, okay. It's interesting. That is pretty interesting. We always kind of strive to find the answers, whether there was life on Mars, and we won't bow to rest easy.
No.
So the Mars rover Perseverance, it's been doing some samples and stuff like that, and it's actually found organic matter in a rock sample. So, whether
are they saying it's definitely organic matter, or what they say?
Well, they basically said, right, so it's looking for ancient life on Mars, and it's now collected some of the most promising samples from the red planet yet. So according to NASA, several rock samples containing organic matter were found in the Jesus crater.
Right, okay.
Around 28-mile wide crater, which obviously they felt was a lake bed.
Yeah.
Because it has a tundra or a mouth opening for the river.
Yeah, that's right. And because he landed quite away from it, so they wanted to take samples.
Well, they landed right in it. They landed in it. So the JESA was selected for the mission because it allows them to explore the ancient habitat or in the environment of a ancient lake bed, which would have existed about 3.5 billion years ago.
Yeah.
So, it's quite a long time for a place to go barren, really, isn't it? Whether they find what these organic materials are, but it kind of does prove that at some point that was a lush planet. There was some life there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, they can show by the models in the computers on how the solar system was in the past to now, and it was a lush place, you know what I mean? And so there was bound to be something there, to be honest, because they were in that Goldilocks zone like we are now.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Yeah, they're pretty much the same as us, but a bit warmer, really, I suppose.
Yeah.
Anything else you've got?
Amazon's spacecraft took off the other day, and when it went up to about a mile and then stopped working, so they had to eject the package that they had and parachute it back down, which means he was lucky that no one was actually living in it, in there. No human or animal or anything was in there. But yeah, so he's had a little bit of a disaster. He's had a bit of a disaster over the last couple of months, to be honest, because he's just lost, was it $2 billion in Amazon itself, and well,
he dropped, didn't he? There was an Indian guy who ended up becoming the second richest for about 15 minutes, and then dropped that down.
Yeah, that's true.
So, last story I've got on NASA news is there is going to be a load more SpaceX Falcon 9 launch attempts.
Yeah.
I know they keep attempting it, but there've been loads of mad stuff going on, like hurricanes and stuff.
Yeah, weather's playing up.
So, that's kind of put stuff off, but they are going to be sending more Falcon 9 rockets to try and fill in the gaps in their, satellite, internet, internet, fucking, what's it called?
They've still got Starlink. Starlink, that's it.
Yeah, so that's going to be going up. I think they're going to be, SpaceX say they were forced to stand down on Friday due to continuous unfavourable weather conditions.
Yeah, and soon they'll be helping our communications in Britain as well.
Well, if this Starlink works like it's supposed to, then it should be free internet for everybody.
Well, yeah, that's
maybe with a cost, a bit of a cost. Anyway,
someone has to pay it.
Well, have you got anything else you want to talk about? Because I think that's the end of the show.
Mate, yeah.
Well, in that case, it is the end of the show. Thank you for everybody who's stayed to the end and listened to us ramble on.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. We'll be back next week with more exciting episodes and more stuff to talk about.
Freaky shit.
If you want to get in touch, you can get in touch by sending us an email at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com or hitting us up on the website on the contact page. There's also plenty of things to do over on the website.
There is.
Like videos and news stories, blogs, whatever. Yeah, there's loads of stuff. Go and entertain yourself.
Yeah.
You can buy merch and sign up and help support the podcast as well.
Yes, please.
If you want to subscribe, which we want you to do, we want you to keep coming back. You can subscribe, I
don't know
press
what it is,
the like button, subscribe button, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Never miss an episode.
Yeah.
And,
Notify you.
We'd love you for it.
Yeah.
You can do that. We're available on all podcast platforms, including iTunes, Spotify, Castbox, Good Pods, YouTube, everywhere you can find.
Yeah.
Search for us and you'll never go wrong. Even if you go on Alexa and say, Alexa, play the Never a Straight Answer podcast, it should do it. Yeah. So do that as well.
Yeah, please.
So thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week for another exciting episode.
We are.
I hope you come along for the journey.
Yes, because we are going to be here for you.
And I've had a bit of a tooth. I've had dentist this week, so I've slurred a couple of words tonight. So I do apologise for that. But I'll probably be better next week.
Wipe that dribble as well off.
It's all them painkillers.
Yeah.
Anyway, right. Well, we'll catch you next time. I've been Gaz.
I've been Taylor.
Peace.
Out.